Imagine waking up one morning, staring at the ceiling, and realizing that every single thing you've been chasing, success, happiness, perfection, has been a giant, exhausting lie. What if the secret to truly living isn't about piling on more ambitions or forcing positivity down your throat, but about ruthlessly deciding what not to care about at all? That's the wild, counterintuitive ride we're about to embark on. A journey that flips everything you thought you knew about life upside down. Buckle up, because once you start seeing the world this way, there's no going back. We'll weave through stories of real people, historical figures, and everyday struggles, painting vivid pictures that make these ideas stick like glue. By the end, you'll feel like you've lived through a dozen lifetimes, questioning your own choices and emerging with a fresh perspective on what really matters. Let's transport ourselves back to the gritty streets of Los Angeles in the mid-20th century, where a man named Charles Bukowski is stumbling home from another night at the bar. The air is thick with the smell of stale beer and cigarette smoke, the neon lights flickering like distant stars in a polluted sky. He's not a hero in the traditional sense. No cape, no grand ambitions, no polished resume to boast about. He's a postal worker by day, sorting endless piles of mail in a dimly lit office that reeks of ink and boredom. A poet by night, hunched over a battered typewriter in his cramped apartment, and a drunk all the time, using alcohol as a blurry lens to view the world's absurdities. His apartment is a chaotic mess of empty bottles clinking underfoot, cigarette butts overflowing from ashtrays, and stacks of rejection letters from publishers who don't get his raw, unpolished style. Letters that mock his dreams with cold, printed rejections. But Bukowski doesn't care. He doesn't give a f***ck about fitting into the glossy literary scene or impressing highbrow critics with fancy metaphors and structured verses. He writes because it's his way of making sense of the chaos, the pain, the absurdity of existence, pouring out his soul onto the page in brutal honesty that cuts like a knife. Years pass like this, decades, in fact, a slow grind of obscurity where most would have given up, drowning in self-pity or switching to safer hobbies. He's in his 50s when finally, a small, independent publisher takes a chance on him, seeing the diamond in the rough. Books start selling, not in blockbuster numbers at first, but steadily, fans emerge from the shadows. People who resonate with his unfiltered take on life's underbelly. And suddenly, he's a cult icon, his words echoing in underground circles and beyond. His secret? He never tried in the conventional way. He didn't network at cocktail parties, schmooze editors, or self-promote with slick marketing campaigns. He just lived authentically, day by day, word by word. And when he died, his tombstone read 3 simple, defiant words: "Don't try." It's a slap in the face to our culture of endless striving, isn't it? In a world where social media screams, hustle harder, grind till you shine, with influencers flexing their morning routines and productivity hacks, Bukowski's life story asks a provocative question. What if trying too hard is exactly what's holding you back? What if the relentless pursuit of success, with its checklists and vision boards, is like running on a treadmill, lots of sweat, no forward motion? Think about it. Have you ever poured your soul into something, only to watch it fall apart because you cared too much about the result? Like that job interview where you rehearsed every answer in front of the mirror for hours, memorizing stats and practicing your smile, only to freeze under the harsh fluorescent lights of the conference room, your mind going blank as the interviewer stares expectantly. Or that relationship where you bent over backward to please, planning surprise dates, compromising on every little thing, suppressing your own needs to keep the peace, only to be left heartbroken when it all crumbles anyway, leaving you wondering where you went wrong. The more we force it, the more it slips away, like trying to grasp water in your fists. Bukowski's approach was to care about the work itself, the raw act of creation, not the accolades or external validation that society dangles like carrots. It's a subtle art, this not giving a f***ck. It's not about apathy or giving up on life altogether, lounging on the couch in perpetual laziness. It's about conserving your emotional energy for what truly moves the needle in your life, like a wise investor allocating resources to high-yield opportunities. We have a limited number of f***ck's to give each day. Think of them as a finite currency in your emotional wallet, and most of us squander them on trivialities, like worrying about what the neighbor thinks of our overgrown lawn. replaying awkward conversations in our heads at 3 a.m., or obsessing over a stranger's snarky comment online that you'll forget by tomorrow? What if we reserve them for the big stuff, the stuff that defines us, like nurturing genuine relationships, pursuing passions that ignite our souls, or standing up for beliefs that matter? Imagine reallocating that energy. Instead of scrolling through endless feeds comparing your life to curated highlights, you channel it into creating something meaningful, even if no one notices at first. This brings us to the heart of the matter, the myth of positivity that's permeated our culture like a sweet but toxic perfume. Self-help books line the shelves in bookstores, their shiny covers promising that if you just think positive thoughts, repeat affirmations in the mirror every morning, the universe will deliver your dreams on a silver platter, wrapped in a bow. The law of attraction, they proclaim with evangelical fervor. Visualize wealth, and it will come flowing in like a river. Imagine that perfect partner, and they'll appear at your door. But here's the dirty little secret, the uncomfortable truth hidden behind the glossy pages. That's bullshit. Positive thinking isn't the key to a fulfilled life. It's often the problem, a deceptive trap that lures us into deeper dissatisfaction. Why? Because it sets us up for disappointment on a grand scale. Life isn't a fairy tale where everything works out if you're optimistic enough, where villains are vanquished with a smile and a can-do attitude. Life is messy, unpredictable, and full of pain, sharp edges, unexpected detours, and heart-wrenching losses that no amount of good vibes only can erase. The ancient philosophers knew this intimately, the Stoics like Epictetus and Marcus Aurelius, who faced emperors and exiles, the Buddhists who meditated on impermanence in quiet temples. They understood that desiring too much, clinging to outcomes, leads to suffering, a cycle of want that never ends. Happiness isn't a state you achieve by avoiding negativity at all costs, plastering over cracks with forced smiles. It's a side effect of dealing with life's inevitable crap in a healthy way, rolling up your sleeves and wading into the muck. Picture happiness as a delicate scale, balanced precariously in your mind. On one side, your expectations, those lofty dreams fueled by ads, social media, and self-help gurus. On the other, reality, with its gritty truths and limitations. When expectations exceed reality, tipping the scale wildly, you're miserable, wallowing in the gap between what you want and what is. When they're aligned or even lower, grounded in what's possible, you're content, able to appreciate the small wins. But our culture pumps up expectations to ridiculous levels. Perfect bodies sculpted by filters and gyms, perfect careers with six-figure salaries and corner offices, perfect relationships straight out of rom-coms, with no arguments or compromises. No wonder anxiety is through the roof, with therapy waiting lists longer than ever and burnout a badge of honor. The truth is, happiness comes from solving problems, not eradicating them. Yes, problems, those pesky things we try to dodge like puddles on a rainy day. Life is a series of them. From the moment you wake up hungry, your stomach growling for breakfast, to the big ones like career setbacks that leave you questioning your path or the profound loss of a loved one that reshapes your world. The people who are happy aren't problem-free, living in some utopian bubble. They've just chosen problems that excite them, that align with their deeper purpose. Like the artist who struggles with creative blocks, staring at a blank canvas for hours, but loves the euphoric breakthrough when inspiration strikes, or the parent who deals with sleepless nights, diaper changes, and tantrums, but cherishes the unbreakable bond with their child, the pure joy of a hug or a first word. What problems are you choosing in your life right now? Are they the shallow ones, like chasing likes and approval on social media, refreshing your feed for that dopamine hit, or the deep ones, like building something lasting, a skill, a legacy, a connection that withstands time? Let's make this vivid with a tale from everyday life, drawn from the kinds of stories that echo the book's themes. Meet Alex, a 30-year-old marketer in a bustling big city like New York, where the streets hum with ambition and the skyline looms like a challenge. Alex is the king of positivity. His desk is covered in motivational quotes sticky-noted everywhere, from "You got this" to "Dream big." His playlist full of uplifting podcasts hosted by charismatic gurus promising transformation in 30 days. He starts each morning with gratitude journaling, listing things he's thankful for, and ends with visualization exercises, imagining his ideal life in vivid detail. But beneath the surface, he's exhausted, a weary soul propping up a facade. He's positive about getting that promotion, convincing himself it's inevitable with enough affirmations. Positive about finding the one, swiping through dating apps with unwavering optimism. Positive about everything, really refusing to entertain doubt. When the promotion goes to someone else, a colleague who networked smarter, he's crushed, the rejection feeling like a personal betrayal of the universe. When the date flops, with awkward silences and mismatched vibes, he spirals into self-doubt, questioning why his positivity isn't working. Why? Because his positivity was a denial of reality, a shiny band-aid over wounds that needed air to heal. One day, Alex stumbles upon this idea in a quiet moment of reflection, perhaps while walking through Central Park, leaves crunching underfoot. Embrace the suck, accept that life includes shadows as well as light. He starts small, accepts that work will have bad days, with demanding clients and missed deadlines. That dates will flop, not every connection sparks. He shifts his F***CKs to self-improvement, not guaranteed outcomes, focusing on learning from feedback rather than forcing success. Suddenly, he's not happy all the time, with that artificial glow, but he's fulfilled, a deeper contentment that weathers storms. The lows don't hit as hard because he's not expecting constant highs, not chasing an illusion. Is that resonating with you? Have you been forcing smiles when you'd rather acknowledge the storm, letting it pass naturally instead of fighting it? Now, let's turn the mirror on ourselves and confront a harsh truth that might sting like a splash of cold water. You are not special. Yeah, I said it, and I'll say it again for emphasis. You're not special, and neither am I. In a world that bombards us with messages like, "You're unique, a one-of-a-kind snowflake. Follow your dreams. The world needs your gift. You can be anything you set your mind to." It's easy to buy into the delusion of exceptionalism, building castles in the air. From childhood, we're handed participation trophies for merely showing up, patted on the back for average efforts, told we're stars in the making destined for greatness. Teachers, parents, media, all conspiring to inflate our egos. But then adulthood hits like a freight train, and the world doesn't revolve around us as promised. Jobs reject us with form emails. Relationships fail despite our best efforts. Opportunities pass us by, and we wonder, why me? Don't they see how special I am? This is entitlement at work, and it's a silent killer, eroding our resilience and poisoning our perspectives. There are two flavors of entitlement, each as destructive as the other in their own way. First, the "I'm better than everyone" type, the grandiose narcissist who believes success is their birthright, a divine entitlement written in the stars. When things go wrong, as they inevitably do, they blame the world with vitriol. The system's rigged against me. People are just jealous of my potential. It's a fragile ego, thin as eggshell, cracking under the slightest pressure, leading to rage, isolation, or destructive behaviors. Then there's the flip side, equally insidious. The "I'm worse than everyone" victim, who wallows in self-loathing and pity, thinking, "I don't deserve good things. The universe hates me." They sabotage opportunities, expecting failure, creating a self-fulfilling prophecy. Both stem from the same poisonous root, believing you're special, either positively or negatively, set apart from the masses. The reality? We're all pretty average, blending into the crowd. Billions of people on this planet, each with their stories, and most of us are forgettable in the grand scheme, our lives a blip on history's radar. But that's not depressing. It's freeing, a weight lifted from your shoulders. Once you drop the specialness illusion, you can focus on real growth without the crushing weight of unrealistic expectations, without the fear of falling from a pedestal you never belonged on. Imagine a young woman named Lisa, raised on a steady diet of praise in a suburban home where every drawing was fridge-worthy art. "You're so smart, so talented," her parents said, beaming with pride at parent-teacher conferences. School was easy, a breeze of A's and accolades, reinforcing her belief in her exceptionalism. But college? Not so much. The lectures are tougher, the competition fiercer, peers from diverse backgrounds outshining her in unexpected ways. She struggles, Grades slip from A's to B's and C's, and she crumbles, thinking, "This can't be happening to me. I'm special, destined for more." Depression sets in, a dark cloud that follows her to classes and dorm rooms, leading to skipped lectures and isolation. Years later, after therapy and self-reflection, she realizes the praise was hollow, a well-intentioned but harmful bubble that made her fragile. She starts embracing mediocrity in areas that don't matter. She's okay not being the best cook, burning dinners without shame. Okay not being the fittest gym-goer, jogging at her own pace without comparing. She pours her energy into her passion, writing, honing her craft through workshops and revisions, and thrives, publishing stories that touch hearts. By accepting she's not special, she becomes exceptional in what counts. Her work authentic and grounded. What about you? Where is entitlement sneaking into your life, making you miserable? Perhaps in your job where you expect recognition without extra effort, or in friendships where you feel overlooked. This ties into the value of suffering, a concept that might sound masochistic at first but reveals itself as profound wisdom. Suffering isn't just bad luck, a random curse from the cosmos. It's a reflection of your values, the lens through which you view life's challenges. If you value material success above all, hoarding wealth like a dragon on gold, you'll suffer intensely when money's tight, when markets crash or bills pile up. If you value popularity, craving the spotlight and applause, rejection will destroy you, each no a dagger to the heart. But if you value things like honesty, creativity, humility, internal qualities you control, not external validations, your suffering becomes meaningful, a forge that tempers your spirit. It's the kind of pain that builds you up, sculpting character like a chisel on marble. Think of it like weight training in a gym. The tear in the muscle, the burn of that last rep leads to strength, bigger biceps, endurance. Without pain, no gain, no deeper wisdom, no appreciation for joy. History is full of examples that illustrate this beautifully, stories that span centuries and continents. Take the epic tale of Ernest Shackleton, the British explorer whose ship, the Endurance, was crushed in the unforgiving Antarctic ice in 1914, stranding him and his crew in a frozen hell. His crew faced starvation with rations dwindling, freezing temperatures that bit through layers of clothing, isolation from the world with no rescue in sight, the constant threat of death from crevasses or blizzards. But Shackleton valued leadership, perseverance, and camaraderie above personal glory. He turned suffering into a legend of survival, rationing food meticulously, keeping morale high with stories and games, leading daring treks across ice to seek help, ultimately saving every single man after months of ordeal. Their pain had purpose, a shared value that bonded them and etched their names in history. In contrast, think of lottery winners who suddenly amass fortunes, only to blow it all on extravagances. Mansions, cars, parties, and end up broke, depressed, even suicidal. Their values were shallow. Pleasure, status, instant gratification, and suffering followed like a shadow, amplifying emptiness. What values are shaping your pain right now? Are they good ones, like immediate actions you can take, evidence-based decisions grounded in reality, beneficial to others in your circle? Or bad ones, like superstitious rituals that promise control but deliver none, addictive pursuits that numb temporarily, harmful habits that isolate you? Let's dive deeper with a modern example to make it relatable, perhaps someone you could know in your own life. Meet Tom, a tech entrepreneur in Silicon Valley, the land of startups and dreams, obsessed with making it big, like the next Elon Musk or Mark Zuckerberg. He values fame and wealth above all, measuring his worth by investor pitches and app downloads, so he hustles nonstop, coding late into the night under blue screens, neglecting health with fast food and no sleep, ignoring family calls because success demands sacrifice. When his startup fails, crushed by competition or a buggy launch, he's devastated. Suicidal thoughts creep in during sleepless nights, the weight of failure feeling like the end of the world. But in the aftermath, rock bottom becomes a turning point. He reevaluates in therapy sessions and quiet walks, shifting to valuing innovation for its own sake, the joy of solving problems, helping his team grow personally. The next venture succeeds modestly at first, but more importantly, his life does, balanced with gym time, family dinners, genuine connections. Suffering was the catalyst, a harsh teacher, but values determined the outcome, turning ashes into fertile ground. Ask yourself, what pain am I willing to endure willingly? That reveals your true priorities, the core of who you are and what you'll fight for. Now, let's explore the power of choice, a theme that runs like a thread through the fabric of this philosophy. You are always choosing, even when it feels like life is choosing for you, a puppet master pulling strings. That bad boss who micromanages and criticizes? You chose to stay in the job, perhaps for the paycheck or fear of change. That unhealthy habit, like doom scrolling or junk food binges. You choose it daily, moment by moment. Blaming circumstances is a cop-out, an easy escape that strips you of agency, leaving you powerless in your own story. The book draws powerfully from Viktor Frankl's experiences in Nazi concentration camps during World War II, a nightmare of human depravity. Amid unimaginable horror, starvation that hollowed bodies, torture that broke spirits, death marching through snow, he discovered that the one thing no one can take away is your choice of attitude, the inner freedom to respond. He chose to see meaning in suffering, to help fellow prisoners with quiet words of encouragement, finding purpose in small acts of humanity, and it kept him alive, body and soul. If he could choose in the depths of hell, surrounded by barbed wire and guards, what's your excuse in the relative comfort of modern life? Choice extends to values, reactions, everything under the sun. Stuck in angry traffic, horns blaring and frustration boiling? Choose to breathe deeply, listen to a podcast, not rage and honk. Hurt by a friend's careless words? Choose forgiveness to mend the bond or distance to protect your peace. Over time, these choices compound like interest in a bank, building a life of intention. But here's the trap, sneaky and seductive. Denying responsibility is a choice too. Choosing helplessness, victimhood as a shield. People who say, "I had no choice," are lying to themselves, rationalizing inaction. There's always a choice, even if it's hard, even if it scares you to your core. Let's illustrate with Emma, a single mom in a small town, juggling realities that would overwhelm most. She feels trapped, bills stacking like Jenga towers ready to topple, kids demanding attention with school runs and homework, no time for herself in a dead-end job at a local diner, serving coffee with a forced smile. But she chooses to enroll in night classes at the community college, choosing education over exhaustion, studying under a dim lamp while kids sleep. It's painful, sacrificing sleep, missing bedtime stories, but it leads to a better career in nursing, financial stability, role modeling resilience for her children. Choice empowered her, turning chains into wings. What choices are you avoiding right now, perhaps out of fear or habit? Facing them could change everything, rewriting your narrative from passive to proactive. But wait, here's a twist that might unsettle you. Challenging the foundations of certainty. You're wrong about everything. Our brains are unreliable narrators, filtering reality through a kaleidoscope of biases, emotions, incomplete memories, cultural lenses. What you know with absolute conviction is a best guess at best, often flawed, a patchwork of assumptions. History shows this in stark relief. Scientists once knew the sun orbited Earth, defending it with fervor. Doctors knew leeches cured illness by balancing humors, prescribing them for everything from headaches to heartbreak. We mock them now from our vantage point, but we're the same, clinging to truths that future generations will laugh at. Growth comes from embracing uncertainty, questioning beliefs like a detective interrogating suspects, poking holes to find the real story. In practice, this means staying open, curious as a child. In arguments with a partner or colleague, instead of defending your position like a fortress, ask, what if I'm wrong? What evidence am I missing? It diffuses conflict, fosters learning, turns battles into bridges. In your career, assuming your path is right blocks pivots, like staying in a dying industry out of stubbornness. Doubt is your ally, a tool for refinement. The book argues that certainty is the enemy of growth. It's what fuels fanatics who wage wars over dogma and stubs progress in societies rigid with ideology. So, cultivate healthy doubt, a mindset of humility. It's scary. Admitting wrongness hurts the ego, exposes vulnerability, but it's liberating. Suddenly, the world is full of possibilities, doors opening where walls once stood. Take Mike, a staunch political believer in a divided world, arguing online with strangers, convinced he's right. His views unassailable truths backed by cherry-picked facts. He spends hours in echo chambers, reinforcing biases. But a personal crisis, a family fallout over differing opinions, forces reflection. He realizes his views were shaped by algorithms and selective exposure, not full truth. He starts listening to opposing podcasts, reading diverse books, changing gradually. Relationships improve. His mind expands like a horizon at dawn. Where are you certain that's limiting you, perhaps in beliefs about money, love, or self-worth? Failure is the way forward, a counterintuitive path that society shuns but wisdom embraces. We treat it like poison, a mark of shame to hide, but it's medicine, bitter but healing. Avoiding failure means avoiding life, staying in safe harbors while adventures await. The successful aren't failure-free. They fail more, learn faster, iterating like scientists in a lab. Think of Michael Jordan, the basketball legend. Cut from his high school team as a sophomore. He used it as fuel, practicing relentlessly, turning rejection into rocket fuel for greatness. Failure is feedback, not finality. A signpost saying, adjust course. The book tells of entrepreneurs who bankrupted multiple times, losing homes and savings before striking gold. Each failure taught lessons in market timing, team building, resilience. If you never fail, you're playing safe, missing opportunities that demand risk. Embrace it. Start that business despite doubts. Ask for the date with butterflies in your stomach. Write the book even if the first draft sucks. Fail, analyze, adjust, repeat the cycle of mastery. Let's story it with Rachel, an aspiring writer in a cozy but cluttered apartment, dreaming of novels that change lives. Her first manuscript, pored over for years, is rejected 50 times. Form letters piling up like fallen leaves. She could quit, deem herself untalented, but she revises ruthlessly, fails again with the second draft, improves through workshops and critiques. The third book, Honed by Fire, hits bestseller lists, her voice finally heard. Failure was her teacher, sculpting raw talent into art. Have you failed lately? If not, push harder, step into the arena where growth happens. Saying no is essential, a boundary that protects your yes. We say yes to everything. Fear of missing out, pleasing others, avoiding conflict. But yes dilutes focus, spreading you thin like butter on too much bread. No creates space for meaningful yes, prioritizing what aligns with your values. Boundaries are self-care, not selfishness. A fence around your garden. In relationships, saying no to toxicity, draining friends, abusive patterns, opens yes to health, mutual respect. In work, no to distractions like endless emails allows deep work, creativity flowing uninterrupted. It's uncomfortable at first. People may dislike you, guilt may nag, but it's necessary for sanity. Imagine life as a garden. Saying no to weeds lets flowers bloom vibrantly, yielding a harvest worth savoring. Example: Kevin, a yes-man manager in a corporate tower, overloaded with tasks, burnt out from constant availability. He starts saying no to extra meetings that waste time, unreasonable requests from higher-ups. At first, pushback comes, but productivity soars, respect grows as he models balance. His team follows suit, the office culture shifting. What no do you need to say today, perhaps to a habit or person sapping your energy? And then you die. Harsh, but true. A stark reminder that echoes through philosophy and time. Death is the ultimate equalizer. Stripping titles and possessions. The reminder to prioritize amid life's noise. Knowing time is finite cuts through bullshit like a scythe. Why waste on grudges that fester, status games that evaporate? Focus on legacy, how you made others feel, the ripple of kindness. Values you lived, not stuff accumulated. Philosophers like Seneca urged, memento mori. Remember death, to live fully, contemplating mortality in daily meditations to savor moments. It turns regret into action, procrastination into purpose. Steve Jobs, on his deathbed in 2011, Wished for more time with loved ones, not more gadgets or board meetings. Use death as a motivator. Live authentically, love deeply without reservation. Give F***ck's wisely to what endures. Pulling it all together. This story of not giving a F***ck is about selective caring, a masterful curation of your life's canvas. Choose good problems that challenge and fulfill. Embrace pain as the sculptor of strength. Doubt your certainties to invite growth. Fail boldly as the stepping stone to success. Say no fiercely to guard your essence. Face death with eyes wide open to live vibrantly. It's not easy. This path demands courage, introspection, discomfort, but it's real, authentic, a life worth living. What will you let go of today? What F***ck will you withhold to free yourself? Let that question echo in your mind. Inspire action. Spark a quiet revolution in your soul. Thanks for the ride through this epic tale. Now go live unapologetically, one selective choice at a time.